Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Marissa and I'm so glad that you guys are here. In today's video, I have a what's for dinner video, and we are doing four different, well, one, I would consider this first one more of a stew than a soup, but this is a soup edition because, you know, 'tis the season. It is getting cooler and it is time for all the soups and stews. So that is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Some dinners that we had, some soups that we had for dinner in last week. This first one was actually a Sunday dinner that I did for my entire family. We always have lunch together on Sunday afternoons. We have a big family, my mom, my dad, and then my sisters and all their family. And it was my turn to cook. We take turns. And so I was actually kind of not feeling well on this day and just extra tired on this day. So I decided to just throw everything into the crock pot. And so what I did was I cut up some potatoes, put those on the bottom, threw in baby carrots, salt and peppered that. And then on top, I am going to put on two London broil roasts. And then I'm going to mix up a gravy that normally when I make roast, I will cook it in all kinds of juices. I will cover the roast with water and then all of the seasoning, and then cook it down, and then make gravy with that with the drippings in the water. Then I'll shred up the roast beef. I've showed it before on this channel, but I was doing something different on this night because it was just going to be a one pot meal. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of minced onion on top. And then I'm going to take my slow cooker seasoning. McCormick is my favorite, but you can use any brand or you can use any seasoning. You know, if you have your own home seasoning, you can use that as well. But I'm adding that and some onion powder and garlic powder. I'm going to put about 4 cups of water. This will not cover all of the potatoes and carrots. I just kind of want it to go halfway up, because the meat will still render some juices. And basically, I cooked this overnight for about 8 to 10 hours. And then when we got up to get ready for church, I kept it on warm while we were getting ready and then while we were at church. And so it was ready to go as soon as church was over. And it basically, the potatoes and the carrots absorb most of the juice. And, you know, the meat will absorb some of the juice as well. And it just kind of came together as like a thick stew. What I'm adding here as well is some brown gravy mix. You can make this your own. You can add whatever flavoring you like, whatever your taste buds prefer. And so I'm just mixing this up and I'm going to cover it up. Like I said, I'm going to cook it overnight. This is actually one of my favorite ways to eat roasted potatoes. I like it this way. I like any kind of one pot meal. It's especially if it's a dump and go one pot meal. That just makes it easier, and for the cook, it makes it taste better as well. But I'm just going to get all this going. I do have to cover it with a little bit of aluminum foil because it is the lid wouldn't go down all the way. But once it cooks down a little bit, it'll seep down into the pot, and then you can take the aluminum foil off. If I sound a little bit on the nasally side today, it's because I'm a little under the weather, and but I needed to get this voiceover done for you guys, and so I couldn't wait till I sounded 100% better. So I hope that you guys will excuse me for that. So here I am, I'm just covering it with the aluminum foil and getting this started. And then here in just a few minutes, you will see me put the dessert together. Again, I cooked this on low overnight for about 8 to 10 hours and then turned it down to warm and kept it on warm until we were ready to eat. And then this is the apple crisp that I'm making for dessert. I've made one of these before, actually recently, in an apple all things apple video. I canned these apples, and so this is what I'm doing for dessert. Like I said, I was really tired this evening, and I just didn't feel like going all out on lunch for Sunday. So I'm refilling my oats jar, and then all I had to do was open up the jars of apples that I can. It's apple pie filling. Put it in the bottom, and then you just make a crisp. My crisp is even equal parts flour, brown sugar, and butter, and oats. And then I also add a little bit of cinnamon to it. And I will just use a pastry cutter to blend that together, sprinkle it on the top. Now, on this evening, I just put a lid on it and put it in the refrigerator. And then I ended up baking it for 45 minutes on 375. And then it was super hot and super delicious when we were ready for dessert.
May the mind of Christ, my Savior, live in me from day to day. By His blood and power controlling all I do and say. And may the Word of God dwell richly in my life from hour to hour, so that all may see I triumph only through His power. And may the peace of God my Father rule my life in everything, that I may become to comfort the sick and sorrowing. And may the love of Jesus fill me as the waters fill the sea, Him exalting and self-abasing. This is victory.
So on this night, I had family coming over. This was actually Halloween evening, and we have always had potato soup and hot dogs on Halloween. I think it was a tradition that my grandmother started when my mom and her siblings were younger. I'm not sure if it goes back any further than that, but I do know that this was what my mom ate every Halloween. This is what I've eaten every Halloween, and what my kids have eaten every Halloween since forever. And the last few years, several years actually, everybody's come to my house, and we just, I make soup, hot dogs, and cornbread, and this is just, it's just a time for our family to get together and hang out. We'll bring candy and hand it out to the kiddos of the family, and so it's just a really good time. And this potato soup that I'm making is actually, there's a fella at my church who loves this potato soup, and back in my catering days, when I would offer this to sell it, he would get it. And his wife sent me a picture once. I mean, I put it in these like 12-quart bowls. And she sent me a picture of him sitting in, I guess, his recliner, and he had that 12-quart bowl and was just eating out of that bowl. I think he slopped up the soupy parts afterwards, drank it down like he was drinking out of a cup. Anyway, it was funny. And so he's been wanting to know how I make this for a while, and it is just easy. It is so super easy. And so, first things first, you got to wash and peel your potatoes. I have a 5-pound bag of potatoes, whatever potato you like. I will say red potatoes, probably not a good choice for this. That's just my preference, though. And so I'm going to dice all of the potatoes up into bite-sized pieces. I'm going to cover the potatoes with water, add salt and pepper and butter, And then I'm going to turn the stove on and let those get to cooking. Over to the side, you see I have some Velveeta cheese. This potato soup recipe is actually my mom's recipe. She did everything except add the cheese. The cheese is kind of my addition to it, and so it's really the cheese really makes it good. But you can take it or leave it. You don't have to have it. And so here I am making my hush puppy cornbread. I add onion, and honestly, guys, this onion is some of the fresh onion that I chopped and froze this summer. It was super, super potent, still super potent. So I didn't need as much as I put in there, but um, so I start with onion and then some shredded cheese, salt and pepper. I use the Martha White buttermilk cornmeal and then buttermilk. And I don't measure anything. I wish that I could give you measurements, but I don't. I just kind of dump it and go and eyeball it until it is the consistency of wet cornbread. And I am making I'm using my iron skillets and making like 1.5 recipe. And so this cup right here is an 8 cup mixing bowl type thing. So if that kind of helps you out a little bit. But yeah, so I'm going to get all that mixed up and get my pans warming in the oven. I bring my pans up to temperature with the oven, and then I'll add some oil to the iron skillets. Pour my cornmeal in, bake it at a high temperature. I usually bake it at 475 until it is a dark brown on the top. And when you take it out and flip it over, it's nice and crunchy on the top. And that is my hush puppy cornbread. Once your potatoes are fork tender, you can go ahead and add that 16-ounce block of Velveeta cheese, and then I add 2 cans of evaporated milk, and I'm just going to stir it and leave it on low until the cheese has melted all the way through and the cornbread is done. And like I said, this is definitely a favorite. We've been eating this for as long as I can remember, and a lot of people that, from my catering days really enjoy this soup as well. And if you give it a try, let me know what you think as well. So now I we're moving on to another soup. I was really tired this day. I'd had my grandbaby and she wasn't feeling well, and so I was, a little tired after tending to her this day, and so I really didn't feel like doing anything. And I have had this dehydrated soup mix from Troyer's Market. You guys have heard me talk about Troyer's before, and so I wanted to give this soup a try. It's corn chowder. And honestly, I debated whether or not I was going to even put this in this video because really, how can I say this nicely? It was not our favorite. None of us really cared for it. But I was measuring it out and then decided I'm just going to use the whole thing and added milk and water according to the directions. And then you bring it up to a boil and then you turn it down and let it simmer for 15 minutes. So this is what I'm doing. And I thought I would just go ahead and make a quick batch of biscuits to go with it. I'm not showing you that either because this night was just pitiful. This night it was it was one of those nights where nothing turned out. And so my daughter and I tasted it, my husband tasted it, and we just didn't care for it. It wasn't our cup of tea. So I think my daughter ate a bowl of cereal. I ate a bowl of cereal. I think my husband might have had a peanut butter sandwich I can't remember, but yeah, this wasn't that good.
That's alright. I mean, it's not bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I don't like it.
That is definitely one of those recipes that I want to try to make fresh because I think I can make it and it'd be really, really good. So, this last soup that I'm going to share with you guys is another favorite in my house. It is vegetable beef soup, and I always make the hush puppy cornbread with this as well. But this was the night that I started feeling bad, and so I made this soup and we ate it with saltine crackers. So, that's good as well. All I did was um, I have a pound of ground beef. I'm using the 93.7 ground beef, and then I'm taking about four medium-sized potatoes, and I am chopping them up to the same size and that little chopper thing I have. And I'm going to put the potatoes, the beef. Now the beef is cooking, but it's not going to be all the way cooked when I add the potatoes, and then I'm going to add onions as well. And I'm going to cover that with water, and then I'm going to cook it till the potatoes start to get tender. They're not all the way finished, but they're starting to get tender. And then again, I'm adding some of the onion. Oh, yeah, I started with the pot that was too small. I honestly don't know how to cook for small small crowds. I've always cooked for a big crowd. I mean, I had four sisters, so if I did any cooking growing up, it was for a crowd. So anyway, had to change pots. Change pots. So I have the beef and potatoes and onions in my pot, and I'm going to turn the burner up medium high, and I'm going to cook it till the potatoes start to get tender. And while that is cooking, I'm also going to get my other ingredients ready. I have a can of corn, a can of green beans, and a can of carrots. And then I'm using my tomato sauce and tomato juice that I canned this summer, along with a beef stew seasoning pack. By this point, my potatoes were starting to get tender, and my beef was cooked all the way through. Like I said, you don't have to have your meat cooked all the way through if you're going to do it this way. If it's something you're going to add later, then you want to go ahead and cook it separate and then add it later. But I'm just adding everything to the pot. I did drain my vegetables, but you don't have to. If I had had more room in the pot, I wouldn't have. And then here I just put that pack of beef stew seasoning into that jar. Gonna add a little bit of the soup mixture or soupy parts to it, stir it up and pour that in. And then you're gonna let this simmer for about 30 minutes until all of your vegetables are tender. And guys, this is really, really good. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you give any of these recipes a try, let me know what you think. If you have a recipe for corn chowder that is tried and true in your home, I would love to have that recipe. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and you like cooking videos, cleaning videos, the daily life of a wife, mom, and grandmother, then this is a channel you would enjoy. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you know when I upload. Hope that you guys are having a great rest of your week. I hope that the weekend coming up is super special and fun for you guys. And until next time, I will see you later. Bye.